Hey everyone, this is Jakai's Cradle, wide receiver for Georgia State University, and you listen to FLOGcast Network. Go Panthers! Hey everyone, this is Jakai's Cradle, wide receiver for Georgia State University, and you listen to FLOGcast Network. Go Panthers!
Alrighty, Skin, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Our names are backwards.
They are backwards. Okay, we'll get that fixed around. But all right, folks, welcome on in to the FLOGcast Network. Things are looking a little different today, but yeah, we're here. We're gonna go over Thursday night game, and we've got Skinley McKinley here for our Friday injury report as well. Skin, first things first. What are your initial thoughts from last night's game?
I mean, you're just a lucky little duckling.
Well,
Lucky little duckling's all I gotta say.
So Nyheim Hines is right on your okay.
He's, they're lucky that Tua's independent doctor wasn't out there, or else he may have said, that looked like back spasms to me. I think he's good to go back in the game. So you're lucky. You're lucky.
Oh, I tried to warn you.
That was by far. Yeah, you warned me during when it kicked off. So, but that game last night was probably the worst game of football I've ever watched in my entire life.
Disgusting.
Luckily, I only caught the second half, so I saved myself some just wasting of time. Right, that was just pitiful. So, I mean, if I know I live in Indianapolis, so Colts fans have been on one for a minute now, and for good reason. That product that they're putting on the field is just bad. But if you're a Broncos fan, boy, you just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel for trading and mortgaging your future for Russell Wilson and all those picks and all that money. And that guy is just not good.
Yeah, he's
I
not.
don't know, man. That was just bad football last night.
Well, I think in the post game show they did I don't know whoever it was that was on the post game show. I think it was Tony Gonzalez was talking about it. He made a good point. No, it was Ryan Fitzpatrick actually, and they were asking Ryan. They're like, "Hey, Ryan, you play the quarterback position. What are you seeing from Russell Wilson right now? Why does he look so bad? We know this guy's a Pro Bowler. He's a Super Bowl winner." And he basically just said, playing quarterback is all about having confidence. And right now, Russell just doesn't have any. I mean, it's a new team. It's a new offense. And yeah, who knows what that locker room looks like, because with all the cringy shit, excuse my language there, cringy stuff Russell's been doing this past offseason, his teammates can't be happy with that. But before I let you go, we have a question from Jeb Armstrong on YouTube. He says, "Gents, should I trade Terry McLaurin and Kyle Pitts for DK Metcalf and David Njoku?" What do you think? McLaurin and Pitts, Metcalf and Joku.
That's a tough one for me. Oh, man.
It's not for me.
My gut's saying no. I think you got to wait and see what Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to turn it up a little bit more. And I don't know. I don't love Washington's offense either, but oh, man.
For me,
I don't know.
To me it's not tough, and I'm taking Metcalf and Njoku. It depends also if he's in a redraft situation or if it's dynasty or like a keeper. It may be different, but Pitts is just it's just not good. It was I sent a picture to the group chat. It was like an Albert Einstein quote: "Insanity is starting Kyle Pitts over and over again and expecting a different result." At a certain point, you can't just say, "Well, he's Kyle Pitts, I have to keep him in there." No, you don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think I do agree, especially if it's a redraft league. Njoku seems like he's getting more involved in that offense. Kyle Pitts
and Metcalf Metcalf alone. I mean, from what I'm a DK Metcalf owner in our league. And yeah, so I watch a lot of Seahawks and Geno Smith. Last year, actually, DK had his 3 or 4 best games of the season with Geno. So I was excited about drafting him this year, and this past week showed that the Seahawks are starting to click a little bit. Geno looks pretty dang good, even for fantasy purposes. And
Mhm.
decaf. So Jeb Armstrong, he says it is a redraft standard 10-team league. So no
Yeah, I
PPR.
think the hardest part for me is that, like, Terry McLaurin and Kyle Pitts they had high expectations, and neither of them have really met those. And in Washington, they do have a lot of weapons. Jahan Dotson and
Yeah,
Curtis Samuel.
exactly.
Dotson's going to be out a couple weeks, but Curtis Samuel, they seem to be getting involved as well. Brian Robinson's about to come back too. And I just don't trust Wentz to be a
Yeah,
consistent passer and keep Terry McLaurin's production up. So yeah, I think I'm going to lean with you as well, DK and Joku. I mean, it feels risky,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't think that's a bad move.
Another aspect you have to consider is probably what is your record. I mean, if you're just making a trade to make a trade, even though you're 4-0, maybe you don't do it. But if you
Right.
really do need
But if you
some,
drafted Terry McLaurin and Kyle Pitts, you're probably not 4-0.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm liking DK Metcalf there. No problem, Jeb. Appreciate the question there, buddy. But yeah, back to last night's game. It
Yeah, thanks
was
for that.
it was not pretty, and Russell Wilson, you can tell something's going on. Either way, it didn't look good on the other side of things either with Matt Ryan.
Okay, now get this though. Like, this is the thing that I just don't understand. Like, Russ obviously did not learn his lesson from the Super Bowl, and Richard Sherman, was having PTSD over on the sideline
He
as well.
was.
But dude, the Broncos gave them this game. Like, okay, Colts have 0 timeouts left. It's what, 3rd and 4. They're at the 10, 12, 15-yard line or something.
Hmm.
Run the ball. If
Yeah,
they run the ball, that does not give the Colts enough time to go down the field. Instead, they run a quick slant, and Russ is late with the throw and behind the wide receiver. That was probably Gilmore's easiest pick he's ever had in his career. It was right in his chest. Like, that, come on. Like, that was terrible.
yeah,
So, let alone Nathaniel Hackett has already had so many of these bad game management type of things. Add that one to it.
yeah.
And then let alone being 4th and 1 at the end of the game and going for it. I get it. I respect the aggression of going for it, but it's 4th
It's
and
fourth and
1.
one.
You've
Run
been
the ball.
running the ball very
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
in the second half. And you have 2 guys that are good,
yeah,
and you decide to drop back, don't even let Russ scramble, or he doesn't scramble. He just sits back there, had plenty of time, like, and just fires it right in the middle. Like, what do you? It blows my mind that these guys are getting paid what they're getting paid, and it's just week after week continuing to just give away these games, make bad coaching decisions, bad play calling. The whole thing is a mess.
yeah. I think part of it. I mean, I wonder how much you can actually blame on, you know, like who is to blame here? Is it Russell Wilson going to the sideline and saying, "Hey, I want the ball in my hands. It's 4th and 1. I want the ball in my hands. I can do this." Or is it, coming from upstairs, or the coaches are saying, "Hey, we paid you, Russell. Because even the in the booth, Al Michaels him and Kirk Herbstreit were debating. They're like, what are you doing here? I think Kirk was saying it's 4th and 1. I'm running the ball, and Al Michaels was saying, I like Russell Wilson here out on the edge. Roll him out. Let him use his feet. Which they didn't do that either. They just dropped him back and
See, and I agreed with that as well.
yeah,
If you are going to leave it in Russell's hands, get him on the move so he
yeah,
could at least run. And I even think it looked like he had enough space to scramble out and get 1 yard.
yeah,
But I mean, I didn't have that field of vision. But it's like, I mean, then you just see KJ Hamler at the end of
yeah,
the game. Like, dude was clearly wide open. I mean, Russ wasn't looking his way, but it looked like that's where the one-on-one coverage was. So he just zoned in on Cortland Sutton immediately and never took his eyes off of him.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's just a mess from the top down right now. And I mean, if you're a Broncos fan, man, you really got to be worried about the future of this franchise because this locker room cracked last night.
yeah,
The defense and the offense. The defense played well. I mean, the Colts, yeah, they're terrible too. So the defense played well, but man, like that was just ugly.
It was, but not only was it ugly on the Broncos side, the Colts side wasn't good either. Saying that, I mean, both teams have a good defense, I feel like. I haven't watched Colts games. I know they got, shut out by Jacksonville, but it seems like the Colts defense is pretty good. I think it was a mixture of bad offense and good defense, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Colts defense is pretty good. I wouldn't say like they're elite by any means, but their offense is just piss poor. Like, I mean, Matt Ryan just looks so old, but you can't blame it all on Matt Ryan either, because that's the highest paid offensive line in the league, and he gets no time whatsoever. So it's one of those things where, and again, like, Chris Ballard shelled out all this money, to Ryan Kelly, who's playing terrible, Quentin Nelson, who is not playing well either, Braden Smith, who is not playing well. And you have an old quarterback who can't get out of the pocket and move, and he's getting no time. So, the one bright spot was Alec Pierce last night.
Yeah.
That rookie receiver for Indianapolis made a lot of good, contested, strong catches. And, I mean, a win's a win, I guess, if you're the Colts, but oh man, it's tough to watch at this point. And that game was it was not fun, fun to watch.
Yeah, and then next Thursday we've got another game that might be a barn burner. So, yeah. With that said, I don't think there's much more to really talk about from that game. Let's go ahead and
let's move on from that game. I want to erase that from my memory, to be quite honest.
We're gonna go ahead and jump into the injury report. So give us 1 second. Alrighty. Let's wait till there's your video. Okay, we're good. So let's see here. What do you have first for us on the injury report?
Yeah, let's go matchup by matchup. Let's start with ours. So, me and you, Tennessee Titans versus the Philadelphia Queefles here. I'll just run through my lineup real quick. My big guys, Amon-Ra St. Brown did not practice yesterday, but Dan Campbell said he is practicing today, which is big sign for me. Man, I really need Amon-Ra in my lineup, especially with Nyheim Hines going down early last night. I'm sure he's going to be questionable going into Sunday and be a game time decision, but it's definitely looking good that he's getting a practice in today. So I'll be watching that up until game time. So keep your eye on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jonathan Taylor obviously was out, so it sounds like he's just going to be a 1-week injury and should be back next week with the ankle and toe. Darren Waller with a shoulder was limited Thursday. It looks like he had a non-contact jersey, though, on Wednesday, so no contact whatsoever. The one positive there, it's a Monday night game. So we'll wait and see what Darren Waller looks like. Problem is, man, if you have Darren Waller, you may be stuck. It's one of those things with a Monday night game. You're going to have to leave a roster spot open for a tight end that you can fit in there in case Waller gets ruled out late. This is one of the tougher things to navigate. So keep your eye on Waller, see where he goes today, and definitely prepare to have someone else that you need to throw in there on a Monday night. So it's not great. Rashad Bateman, it's foot injury. He was out Thursday, is again out today, trending obviously towards not playing. If you don't practice Thursday or Friday, there's a good chance you're not gonna get back in that lineup. So again, something to monitor going into the weekend, but my gut's saying Rashad Bateman's going to be out. So I don't necessarily know if that increases the stock on Ravens pass catchers, maybe Mark Andrews, but it's just so hard on that team. Mark Andrews is probably gonna be auto play, but...
All right, we got a chat on Twitch from Coach J Ruff 23. Can you see it?
What's this bum got to say?
He says, "Should I drop or trade R. Penny? Rashad Penny.
I mean, why would you drop a guy who went off for like 25 points last week? That makes no sense. So, I mean, if you can trade high on a guy who is coming off a big game like that, yeah, definitely. I would say trade him, trade high. His value is probably about at his peak right now with the workload. But, yeah, if you're dropping Penny, then you just don't know what you're doing.
So you're trading away that shiny penny?
Yeah. If you can get somebody who wants to pay up for that, then trade him at his high value.
Okay. Well, Coach J. Ruff, thanks for the question there, pal.
Yeah, thanks for that question, J. Ruff. We really appreciate that. Man, can watch the stream and type in the chat, but can't be on his own podcast. What is this?
I know.
This guy doing?
I know.
I'm gonna keep going down my lineup here. Jahan Dotson with a hamstring injury, not looking good. Sounds like he's already ruled out for the Titans game this weekend, and Ron Rivera said it could be a week or two injury. So not great for a guy who started off the season pretty well as a rookie. You like to see him continue getting acclimated into that offense, but good start to his career. A hamstring will hold him up for the next week or two.
Yeah.
Rondell Moore, it seems like the same story. I mean, he was limited with a knee injury. Again, not much to quote. It didn't sound like it was anything too bad, so he may be back in the lineup this Sunday, but something to monitor. I mean, I'd hope that he's not in starting lineups yet. He needs some more time to get back in that lineup. Michael Gallup, though,
oh boy,
is one positive here. He looked good on Sunday, coming off the ACL tear, and he played a lot of snaps. And he was the third wide receiver behind CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown. But, Gallup's worth a flyer right now. If he's on your waiver wire, I would say go grab him.
Of course he would.
And so, what's that?
So of course he would say
that. I mean, is he not worth a little shot right now if you got a roster spot for him? So, but yeah, that's it for my team. So, on to yours. The Philadelphia Queefles, man. This is I don't know.
You don't know what?
Keenan Allen.
Oh, wow. His projection went down to 0. That's good.
Yep.
So wait, was he officially ruled out?
No, he wasn't officially ruled out yet from what I hear, but he did not practice Thursday. So that's back-to-back no practices. After last week, he had that limited practice and then walked off with the trainers. It was a tweak again, or they just said he started ramping it up and he wasn't ready. So that was a bad sign.
Well,
not looking good for Keenan Allen this week. So might as well slide him out of your lineup.
And
who you got
I'm going to slide in Alvin Kamara right in there. So
yeah, I forgot about that. Chris Godwin, limited still with a knee, and also it sounds like an abdomen injury popped up. He was limited Thursday, but sounds like he's going to be good to go. These Bucs wide receivers are going to be maintenance all year long. So nothing to worry about with Chris Godwin. I am worried since I'm going against Chris Godwin. I think he has a big game this week against Atlanta.
Yeah, he got a lot of targets even in his first game back. I was kind of debating last week whether or not I should put him in there, but if he's playing, you got to start your studs. So yeah, it was good to see he had 10 targets.
Yep. And you got him pretty late in the draft. Going to end up being a good pick for you. So, DeAndre Swift, man. And see, this is the hard part. Like, I was hoping Swift would be back so that you couldn't just start one of the workhorses, But Jamal Williams is going to get every single touch pretty much now. So, DeAndre Swift, shoulder and ankle. They have a week 6 bye, so it sounds like he's going to be back after next week. I think that's the smart play. If you got bye next week, might as well hold him off for another week and let him get healthy. So kind of seems to be a consistent thing with Swift, though, is a little bit injury prone, but when you got that handcuff and Jamal Williams, man, that's
helps
big time.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson, this one is a little bit tough because he had a full practice on Wednesday, but then dropped to a limited practice on Thursday. And that's never a great sign with a hip injury. So you never know if he tweaked it in practice or what, but that's something that you're going to have to monitor going into Sunday.
Yeah.
So keep your eye on Deontay Johnson. It'll be interesting to see how his role gets carved out now with Kenny Pickett. I personally believe that George Pickens' stock is on the rise, um, rookie to rookie. But I do think Deontay Johnson's the best receiver in that room. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Pickett did not have a great first showing, but they're going to have to go through some growing pains with the young QB. So
Definitely.
how are you feeling about Deontay Johnson?
Yeah, I'm not super thrilled about the situation, but of course that was with Trubisky at quarterback. I mean, he was getting. Let me see. I've got his season totals pulled up here. 9 fantasy points week 1, 10.7 week 2, 12.4 week 3. So it was getting better each week seemingly. And then last week was kind of his really only 2 catches for 11 yards on 4 targets, only 3 fantasy points. So last week was pretty tough. And then obviously this week he's playing at Buffalo, so wasn't really stoked about starting him either way. But I'm excited that Kenny Pickett's in there. I'm definitely more excited about him now. So yeah, we'll see. He'll probably be on my bench for the foreseeable future with the roster I've got, but we'll see.
You got a lot of receivers you can slide in there. So, and the last guy, Alvin Kamara, sounds like he's ready to go. He said himself that he feels healthy and ready to go and will be out there. So I'm sure he'll still split some with Mark Ingram, but it's his job again, and we'll see. See how he looks. Is Winston back?
Not positive if Winston's back yet. Hey, real quick though, we got a question from Jack Lombard on YouTube. He says, "Hey boys, want your opinion on this trade I just got done. Traded Swift and Mike Thomas for Jamar Chase and Darren Waller. PPR."
Whew.
That's a big boy trade.
Swift and Mike Thomas for Jamar Chase and Darren Waller. Yeah. I personally like it. I think Jamar Chase and Darren Waller are both buy low candidates. I don't think they've started the year as good as people expected them to. Obviously, I have Darren Waller as well, and he's out there a lot. He has the workload. It's just hasn't been seeing the targets. He has had a few drops, but I think things only go up from here with Waller. And obviously, Jamar Chase is an alpha dog, so no issues with that. And I think Mike Thomas, you're going to go through some ups and downs with him, and then Swift obviously with some injury concerns. So, I think that's a good trade on your part. It just kind of depends on the outlook of your team, the rest of your roster.
That's what I was going to say. It depends on the rest of your roster. I mean, either way, I don't think it's bad. His current tight end is Kyle Pitts. So when he sent that with a bunch of crying faces, well, we feel your pain there.
I mean, I don't personally.
Well, not personally, but we we have a big fantasy group chat, and I feel like half the day it's just sending Kyle Pitts memes. But I like Jamar. Out of all 4 of those players, my favorite is Jamar Chase. So if you get the Jamar Chase side, I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with Swift, I think very highly of Swift as a player. And as a fantasy asset. But the Lions run a little bit of a committee, and they love to put Jamal Williams in there in the red zone. And Jamal steals a lot of his touchdowns. And I think Swift is super explosive and gets those big plays and gets a lot of pass catches. So it would have been tough to sell Swift, but yeah, I think it was a good move on your part.
I agree. And then he leaves another comment saying, he's trying to trade Kyle Pitts for maybe Travis Etienne or something like that.
I mean, both those guys have just been utter disappointments. And I mean, I don't necessarily see Etienne's workload going up a whole lot. The only time I see Etienne being used is when they're down. It seems like they love James Robinson. The only time Etienne will get in is if James Robinson gets hurt. So either player, it's tough with both of those guys. I don't necessarily think I would trade Pitts for ETN
Yeah.
at this point. I think Pitts is something you just got to hold on to and hope things change, because you can't trade him at his absolute lowest value right now. But getting Waller to replace it, that position with, I think is only good. But if Pitts has a few good games, then flip him. If you have Waller and he's doing fine, Pitts goes off a couple of games, then is when you want to trade Pitts.
I agree. When in terms of most players, you never want to trade them at their lowest, but like Kyle Pitts is always at his lowest. So like there's never, in my opinion, I actually think I would make that move. Well, I don't know. I still kind of like ETN. I know you're an ETN owner, and especially if it's
dude,
yeah,
he's not sniffing a lineup
I know.
anytime soon.
I know, but I don't know. I watched him against the Eagles last week, and I like what I see from ETN. He looks explosive. He can be used in the pass game, but
good.
yeah,
They're not giving him the ball. He
I
doesn't
know.
get the workload. So
It's a Doug
it
Peterson
doesn't matter how
offense.
good you look.
Jack says, yeah, Swift is amazing, but I think he's a little injury prone. I was weak at wide receiver. Thanks for the feedback. And then he says, I think ETN has higher upside with the chance that James Robinson could get injured. So it's a handcuff situation.
And now that you have Waller, you can make that move. I think Pitts you could get something more if he has a few good games, a couple good games in a row. I mean, for me, it's only it's week 5.
It's week 5.
I mean, I just think it's too early to necessarily throw Pitts in the garbage. I know it's been bad, but
I think for ETN, it's too early it's too early to completely say, oh, ETN's trash. You know what I'm saying? It's only week 5. Rookie running backs, he might take on a higher workload later in the year.
I just don't think they will unless James Robinson is hurt, right? Like, as long as James Robinson's healthy, he's gonna get all the goal line, and if they're leading in a game, which the Jacksonville Jaguars are pretty good this year, then I think it's Robinson's job to lose. So, but that's where that's just those are two guys that we obviously have a little different opinions on, but that's
it's tough.
That's kind of where it's at. So, but yeah, no, I think good move, man. It's
he says, yeah, selling him low hurts, but I just don't think he will have a sell high opportunity, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good trade, especially you've got Waller now, so I think that makes me a little more wanting to make the move earlier. But either way, again, Jack, appreciate the question there. Back to Alvin Kamara. I don't know if we were still finishing up there.
He's good to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if did we talk about the trade? Your trade on
they mentioned it a tiny bit yesterday. I wasn't on yesterday, so I didn't really explain
Give me your thoughts. What you were thinking about trading for Kamara.
Well, let's flip that real quick. Let me hear your thoughts on the trade, and then I'll give you my why I did it.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, when I looked at your roster, yes, it made it look a lot more scary with Alvin Kamara in there. Not gonna lie, I didn't necessarily. I personally would not have traded a first-round pick for Kamara because, again, like we talk about player value, Kamara is essentially at his lowest. I didn't necessarily think he was worth a first-round pick, but with your roster being where it's at, I completely understood why you did it, because now looking at your roster top to bottom with health, it's a championship type roster. You're ready to make that move, and Kamara, if he would went off a couple games, you probably couldn't have got him for just a first. And TC does what he does and sells his guys low. And he got Jameson Williams back. He's hoping that he's going to break out at the end of the year once he gets back on the field or gets on the field at all. But I think it was a good move on your part. I personally don't think I would have went a first round pick. I just don't think he fits well with Jameis Winston. But I believe Andy Dalton is playing this week, and he's a little more of a check down type of quarterback. So it doesn't make me very confident.
basically everything you said. I mean, that hit the nail on the head. I mean, I was looking to make a move. I mean, I started the year 3-1. You're 3-1. I feel like my roster is right there. Well, it wasn't as good as yours probably, but I felt like making this kind of big move to really. I wanted to do it sooner rather than later, and and just really. Hopefully, it would put my team, like you said. I've got the injury concerns as of right now. DeAndre Swift, Deontay Johnson. I have DeAndre Hopkins coming back, soon. Week 7, I think he comes back, so he could be in the mix. Keenan Allen's obviously. So like, I think my depth now, top to bottom, is probably, I would call it top in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I wanted to make a big move. I feel like this could be a good year for me. I feel like I'm going to be in the playoffs. So if I'm going to be in the playoffs, I want to make a move now that I don't want to just be a playoff roster. I want to be a championship roster. And
yeah, I agree, and it definitely. I did not enjoy seeing it. That's for sure. It has added some pressure to me.
And another thing that why I pulled the trigger on the first round pick was, if you think about it, I took Keenan Allen in the first round this year. And for those of you listening, that we're a 4-player keeper league. So that's the 5th round, in normal drafts. I took Keenan Allen with my first pick, and I really haven't got anything from him. We're going into week 5, and I haven't got to use him. Last year, I took George Kittle. I got about 3 weeks from him at the end of the season. So I've been competitive even without my first round pick. And, if it comes down to it and I don't have a first round pick, whatever, but I can always make a move and try and collect one. Real quick, we did get another chat from D Calderon 31. All he says is Swift. So I don't know. I don't know. Oh, very disappointed. Okay. He says Swift, very disappointed. Well,
yeah, he's out. I mean, if you don't have Jamal Williams, it's tough. But,
yeah.
hey, Swift will be back after the bye week, week 6 bye. And it's one of those things where with DeAndre, you're gonna have to kind of accept that fact at this point that he is gonna miss a few games each season. But he's explosive as hell when he's on the field.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough. And man, I don't know about Kittle. That dude is falling off the map. I don't have many answers for that one, and it's a little puzzling. I don't know if Debo just took the entire spotlight in offense and ran with it at this point, but Kittle is just he's such a good blocker too that it's hard to not use him in that aspect. But I mean, I would hope that Kittle gets going a little bit more. But yeah, that's a tough start for Kittle.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel the pain on both Swift and Kittle from last year, so I feel you there, Calderon.
Yeah, I mean,
Either way,
fantasy football. Injuries is the toughest part of the game, and just not living up to expectations. So
yeah, it's huge. I'm very glad I was able to get Jamal Williams. That I made that a priority in the draft. Grab my handcuffed and yeah.
Let's keep going on some of these injuries here. So we finished with our matchup here. Let's move on to the LeBron Kings and the Magic Skull Bus. Man, LeBron Kings with a fresh lineup there. Not many question marks on that. All he's missing is Curtis Samuel. Illness was out Wednesday and Thursday.
Yep.
Sounds like he was back at practice today. Should be nothing to worry about. So, man, Ruff's got a whole lineup right there full of healthy players. Imagine that.
I feel like it's been this way like every week for him. Like he has not dealt with injuries. Yeah, this year. So
it has, but he's got a big wall to overcome here with Magic Skull Bus. I know Keegan's disappointed. I'll get one right off the bat. Keegan has lost Javonte Williams for the year with an ACL tear plus ACL plus more.
Yeah.
Not good at all for a keeper. Javonte Williams not only going to be out the rest of the year, but it's going to be dicey to start the season with how significant that knee injury was, and how much time are you willing to see him get going at the beginning of next year. So, his status in the offseason, he's going to be one of those guys that may fall next year's drafts because of his health. It may be a Dobbins type situation.
Well,
Um,
let me ask you this: is he
but
still a keeper for Keegan next year?
I mean, no. I
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Just because of his age, and Keegan has Aaron Jones and Dalvin Cook, who are both older running backs.
Yeah.
AJ Dillon's pushing for playing time. Obviously he's got Jamar Chase as his keeper and Jalen Waddle most likely.
Yeah, you would think.
But Keegan's also in a tough spot for next year because, I mean, Aaron Jones I think is one that could still play his way into the keeper category, but they're splitting carries a lot, so it's tough to say.
Yeah.
But like I said, mentioned Jalen Waddle. He was out Wednesday with a groin injury, was limited Thursday, but it sounded like he was out at practice today. So he should be good to go. But that's something Keegan will at least want to keep his eye on. But he's trending in the right direction to play for Sunday. Marquis Brown was limited Thursday with a foot injury. Again, another one Keegan's going to have to keep his eye on going into Sunday. And man, I'll give it to him. Marquise Brown was a
Well,
very, very good pick.
Hopkins is
And,
about to come back too.
I know, but I mean, just don't know. I'm sure it's going to take his targets down some, but he's position ranked 8, and him and Kyler obviously have the chemistry. They're best friends.
Yeah.
So, Hopkins is just a little bit older. I don't see him being the dominant force of what he was in the past when he comes back. And I think those two, they have really good offsetting skill sets.
Yeah, they do.
Marquise Brown, the speed guy, and DeAndre Hopkins, obviously big red zone contested catch type of guy. So,
Do you see?
Marquise Brown's had a great start.
Yeah. Do you see with this great start? Do you see him as a sell high candidate at all, or do you want to keep him on your team?
Yeah, obviously it depends on your roster. It's one of those that I personally think I would keep him on my roster. But I could definitely see, because of Hopkins coming back, because of Rondell Moore coming back, that the sell high tag is right there. It's right there for sure.
Yeah.
So that's all your personal belief on what you think. I just think the chemistry matters the most. I just think him and Kyler being good friends makes things a lot tougher, and that he's still going to be, his targets may take a little bit of a hit, but I still think he's going to be right there involved as the number 1 or number 2. Last one for Keegan was TJ Hawkinson. Hip injury, was limited Thursday. Coming off a big game.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like there's anything to worry about significantly, but something to monitor going in. I didn't see the report from Dan Campbell yet whether he was practicing today or not, but yeah, that's one to monitor, especially because Amon-Ra is still up in the air. Swift being out, that he may get some good targets. So
Most
yeah,
definitely.
that's it for that matchup. That's a pretty light slate right there.
Okay. What matchup do you want to go to next?
One, let's go Brownie Batter team and CD's nuts.
Okay.
There's a long list here. I'm gonna go through these quickly.
Yep.
I got to be somewhere here soon. Tyreek's the big one. He was limited Thursday after a full practice Wednesday, so he obviously tweaked his quad in practice. From McDaniels, though, he said he's hopeful to play, so that's a good sign. But again, just keep your eye on it. Could monitor it. If he warms up and it's not feeling right, they may rule him out.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts ruled out this week. The guy we've been talking about for a minute here. Did not practice Wednesday, did not practice Thursday, already been ruled out for Sunday. So, yeah, find other options. I mean, if you weren't already trying to find other options.
Yeah.
David Montgomery, ankle injury, was limited Thursday. Looks like he got his first on-field work since week 3, which is a good sign. So, again, monitor this one up until game time. I'm sure he's going to be questionable game time type of decision. If not, be comfortable throwing Khalil Herbert right in your lineups all day. If Montgomery's out, throw Khalil Herbert in there.
Or he could be like Connor here
Offense
and
has-
put throw in David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert at the same time.
Is that what he has right now?
Yeah. Of course, that's what he.
Alright.
I mean,
I mean, they have nobody else, I guess. So, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. Kenneth Walker, again, kind of the same thing here. Practice Wednesday, was limited Thursday. You just hate to see those midweek injury report additions. It's never a great sign, but he's got to monitor this one. Not that Kenneth Walker needs to be in any starting lineups. So,
yeah.
in Julio Jones, again, it's going to be a yearly thing, but Julio Jones left the Kansas City game after the first snap of the second half. So he didn't even finish the game. I don't know. I don't know. I love Julio. He's had a great career, but as a fantasy asset, I think he's done for personally. So I don't know. He may have one or two of those few big games, but with his health, you just can't rely on
I mean,
him.
yeah. Did he have a big game at all when he played for the Titans last season?
I mean,
Like-
not a big game. I mean, one maybe. He only
One
played
where
like
he
4 games.
exactly. That's like, and I mean, he's to the point where you have to really like, if you're Julio Jones, I don't know how old he is. I mean, I know he's what is he 32, 33 maybe. I'm not
Yeah.
positive, but like, and you're constantly tweaking injuries. You're constantly getting hurt, re-injured, aggravated. Like, when do you hang it up? Because it's got to be,
Yeah.
it's got to be coming soon.
Here's one of those instances where his mind wants to play and the competitiveness
Yeah,
still wants
exactly.
to play, but his body's just not letting him at this point. And I mean, part of it is just because of how violent he
Yes.
plays the game. Like,
I mean,
if
he's
you
a
ever
freak
see
of
him run
nature.
route,
Yeah.
he looks different.
Guys that
He
big,
is-
that strong, that fast, they should not be able to move the way
yeah,
he
his
can.
body just can't keep up anymore with that violence that he explodes
Yeah.
with. So
Definitely.
that it's a tough one to see. But moving on to CD's nuts, Scotty Benzing's team here. CD Lamb popped up, but it sounded precautionary. Expected to play on Sunday, so no big deal there. Jacoby Myers limited Thursday again. He's going to have to monitor that one up until game time. Mike Thomas, back-to-back misses in practice. Sounds like he's going to be out again with a foot injury. So I don't know if this is the same foot that he injured, 2 years ago, but you just don't love to see that after taking a couple years off. So still can't stay healthy. And then obviously Tua. Still in concussion protocol, is not traveling with the team, is obviously not playing. He's now seeing some outside specialists, concussion specialists, which I think is a good thing, that he's not relying on the team that suggested that he goes back in the game. Go take your health into your own hands. I don't know what to make of this. I don't know how long he's going to be out. I'm not going to speculate on any of that stuff, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he hangs it up. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back in, not this week, but next week.
Hangs it up
And
as in
anything
retires.
Yeah, anything in
I would
between
be
is
surprised
possible.
if that happens.
Yeah. I mean, it would be surprising, but
But like, you
it's-
couldn't blame him. But I mean, it would be a surprise.
No. Yeah.
Um.
So anything in between there. So yeah, it's one of those things.
Real quick, what do you think about Jimmy Garoppolo in Scotty's starting lineup?
Yeah.
Projected at a solid 11.8.
I'm not sure why that was the guy. When you go to our players,
Mm-hmm.
you go to add players, see the quarterbacks that are available. I'm not sure why Jimmy G popped out to him when that's like he was like one of the lowest projections, even behind Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Kenny
I
Pickett.
I don't
I
I
don't
don't know.
understand that.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure what Benzing's doing there, but you know,
We've got some heart
that's a move
faces.
of desperation.
We've got some heart faces in the chat from D. Calderon. I don't know if that's toward Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, I couldn't blame you if it was. He's a bad-looking guy. But yeah,
Yeah, I
his
mean,
his looks don't
if
quite
you're
translate to the football field. I mean,
but
he's
if you're
decent.
starting Jimmy G, you've got some bigger problems. So
Yeah.
obviously Benzing lost Tua, but ugh.
Yeah. All right. And the last, well, I guess, yeah, we already did Brownie batter. So the last matchup,
Yeah, Terry's terrorist here. He lost a big key piece, Cordell Patterson, on IR. Um, so if you have Tyler Algier or Caleb Huntley, I guess it's time to watch to see how that backfield plays out. My gut is leaning towards Tyler Algier being more of the contributor, but I think both are going to get some run. So,
yeah.
See how that one plays out. But that's a tough loss for the Falcons and for Cordell
Ooh.
Patterson fantasy owners. Is he,
Real quick, we have D. Caller on again. Has a question. He must be talking super flex here. He says in his flex for this week, Tannehill or Garoppolo?
I mean, I'm a Titans
As a Titans fan, yeah. Let's hear it.
so I have some bias, but I personally would go with Tannehill
Yeah.
with the slight edge. I think Washington's defense is good. But I think Chase Young is still out. Yeah, Chase Young's still out. So, Derek will get him down to the goal line, and Tannehill doesn't make big mistakes. I just think Tannehill's ceiling and floor are a little bit higher
Yeah.
than Garoppolo's, but I could see it being a debate. But Tannehill's not sexy by any means. I trust him getting his. He has the legs to use to get into the end zone as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go Tannehill too, personally. I just don't. I've never. 49ers quarterback situation has never been ideal. Even when Trey Lance, everyone was hyping Trey Lance up for fantasy, and I wasn't really having it just yet. But again, the 49ers are playing against the Panthers. The Panthers have a pretty good defense. I think they're actually really good. And either way, Baker Mayfield, it's probably not going to be the highest scoring game. Not to say that Titans versus Commanders is going to be highest scoring, but it has the potential to be. The Commanders' offense it can be pretty good, depending on which Wentz shows up. So I would go Tannehill as well.
Speaking of Titans,
Yeah.
we're going back to injuries. Marcus's team here, Terry's terrorist, Traylon Burks, turf toe. It's going to be a multi-week injury, unfortunately for the Titans. So he's pretty much ruled out already for this week. So, and he doesn't sniff fantasy lineups. It's just their passing offense is just not sexy. I mean, I wouldn't start any Titans pass catcher. Robert Woods is the closest thing, but yeah, he might be a drop candidate at this point. I don't know. So, but I think Traylon's gonna be good. It's just you can't rely on that. But on to the Savage Patch Kids, last team here. Breece Hall popped up as well in the injury report. If you're a Breece Hall owner, you just want to monitor, see what he practices today. I think they're hopeful that he plays. I don't think it's anything crazy, so would expect Breece to play this weekend.
Yeah.
T. Higgins is also expected to play with that ankle injury, so he should be out there as well. Gerald Everett's another tough one to tell. He's going to have to monitor because he practiced in full on Wednesday, was limited on Thursday. So he obviously tweaked that hamstring sometime in between there. So one of those things, gotta wait and see and monitor up until game time. The last one for TC, which I know he's itching and excited about, sounds like Brian Robinson is going to make his NFL debut this week against the Tennessee Titans after being shot in the leg August 28th. So He was designated to return a couple days ago. They have a 21-day window, but Rivera said he's optimistic that he plays this week. I'm sure he's only going to get a few snaps.
Yeah, you would think.
Kind of see how things go. But man, Washington has hyped this kid up, and they're excited to see him out on the field. So you're going to want to watch his workload grow as the season goes on. So if he's out there on waivers by some chance, he's a good stash right now. Go pick him up, see what he does this week, and see how his workload grows the next few weeks. So, yeah, that's it for injuries.
Alrighty, well, I think that'll have to do it for this episode. Again, we almost hit the hour mark. Just a little bit shorter episode. Thank everyone for all of you guys that are still here, all of you guys with the questions, Jeb, Armstrong, Jack Lombard, D. Calderon, of course, Coach Jay Ruff stopped in as well. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. And we will be back next Tuesday to discuss, week 5 and the matchups and who won and all of that good stuff. So, again, Skin, thanks for hopping on. And any last words for you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk trash because
I was gonna say don't. They say we're battling this week, and
yeah, I'm not feeling great about it, to be quite honest. So
okay.
I'll keep my mouth shut, and we'll see how things play out after Naeem kind of hurt a little bit. But no, I mean, good luck out there. It's it's getting into the nitty gritty here, where we're in the middle of the season. Lineups are pretty well set.
Yeah.
So keep those handcuffs and keep that roster churning and stay in it.
There you go. From the man himself, you heard it there. So again, thanks everyone for tuning in, and you have listened to the FLOGcast Network. Everybody, stay safe.
Hey everyone, this is Jakai's Cradle, wide receiver for Georgia State University, and you listen to FLOGcast Network. Go Panthers!